In the heart of a sleepy Mexican town lived a young man named Alejandro. Like many in the town, Alejandro had grown up hearing the chilling tales of La Llorona, the weeping woman who haunted the waters after dark. But he never truly believed in the legend, dismissing it as nothing more than superstition. One moonlit night, as Alejandro found himself wandering along the forest, the sound of his footsteps mingled with the gentle rustle of the trees, creating an eerie symphony in the stillness of the night. Suddenly, Alejandro heard a faint cry in the distance, sending a shiver down his spine. Brushing off the sensation, he continued on his path, his heart pounding with excitement and trepidation. But as he reached the water's edge, the cry grew louder, echoing through the night with an otherworldly intensity. With a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach, Alejandro realized that he was not alone. Standing before him, draped in a tattered white gown and bathed in moonlight, was the ghostly figure of La Llorona. Her hollow eyes bore into his soul, filled with a sorrow so profound it sent chills down his spine. Paralyzed with fear, Alejandro tried to run, but his legs refused to move. La Llorona's mournful wail filled the air, enveloping him in a suffocating embrace as she reached out with ghostly hands, her touch as cold as death itself. In a desperate bid for survival, Alejandro closed his eyes and prayed for deliverance. And then, as suddenly as she had appeared, La Llorona was gone, her haunting cries fading into the night like a whisper on the wind. Alejandro knew he had narrowly escaped a brush with death, but the memory of La Llorona's chilling presence would haunt him forever, and he should heed the warnings of the old tales and avoid the dark waters in the forest where the weeping woman roamed. This fictional story is based on the urban legend of La Llorona, which most people believe is true. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled by a river in Mexico, there lived a woman named Maria. Maria was known for her beauty, but inside, she felt a deep sadness because the man she loved had left her for someone else. Maria had 2 children with him, whom she loved dearly. One day, feeling overwhelmed by her emotions, Maria's sadness turned into anger and despair. In a moment of desperation, she made a terrible decision. She took her children to the river and, in a fit of rage, she threw them into the water. As soon as she did it, Maria realized the horror of her actions. She cried out in horror, but it was too late. Her children were gone, swallowed by the river's currents. Overwhelmed by guilt and grief, Maria sank to her knees on the riverbank, crying out in anguish. But her cries went unanswered, and her sorrow turned into madness. In her despair, Maria was consumed by the river, becoming a ghostly figure known as La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman. From that day forward, La Llorona wandered the riverbank, her ghostly form draped in white, her cries echoing through the night. She searched desperately for her lost children, her heart heavy with regret. The villagers whispered of La Llorona's sorrowful tale, warning their children to stay away from the river at night. They said that if you heard her cries, it was a sign of danger, and that seeing her could bring bad luck. And so, the legend of La Llorona lived on, a tragic reminder of the consequences of anger and despair. And as the years passed, the ghostly figure of Maria continued to haunt the river, with many people having run into her and faced her evil wrath, but she was just searching for the children she lost. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. For more such content, please subscribe to Horror Stories and do check out the Instagram page given in the description. Until next time, sleep tight.